Tony, your super quick question is about the Super Bowl. What do you watch the Super Bowl for?
It's my three passions in life: football, Roman numerals, which I love, and finding the person that is going to make a moment here that's going to last forever. It's all history. You hear people like me say all time history, they made history. When you do it in the Super Bowl, it's always history. I'll give you two examples for me, what makes the Super Bowl. Don Beebe. Don Beebe was the third wide receiver in the Buffalo Bills. They lost 4 straight Super Bowls, but you'll always remember him for his heart. Down 52-17, streaking down the field to force a fumble, even though his team was going to lose the Super Bowl. He lives forever. David Tyree, the famous helmet catch, freak of athleticism. It was the last play and catch he ever made in the NFL. I'm looking for those moments. It can come from anybody, and that's what makes the Super Bowl great. It could be the kicker. It could be the defensive back. It could be the quarterbacks, but it's going to be somebody. There's going to be a moment that's going to live in history.
I love it. Well, when that moment happens, I'll be thinking of you. Thanks for the minute.
You muted me. You muted me. See you, Mike.
Soledad, it is an honor to have you on. Your super quick question today is about your advice for young journalists. What advice do you give to young journalists when they ask you what they should be focusing on?
Yeah, I usually have a couple of tips for them. Number one, I would say build your skills. We don't hire young people if they can't edit, they can't shoot reasonably, if they cannot write. You have to have some skills, so work on that all the time. Say yes to opportunities. Lead with yes, even stupid opportunities. Say yes, yes, yes. It's a really good way to kind of expose yourself to things that you might not have had experience if you'd led with no, I don't want to, I don't know how to do it. I'm a big list maker, so I would say be very strategic about what you're working on and constantly keep lists. What are you doing? What do you want to be doing? Where do you want to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And then finally, the only way to really learn to get better is to watch people, read people, study those who are really great, study those who are really terrible, understand why they're terrible, and avoid them.
I love it. Thank you so much, Soledad, for the minute. Reggie Love, your super quick question is about leadership. You played for Coach K, you worked for President Obama. What are some of the leadership lessons you learned from them?
Yeah, well, Mike, I appreciate the super quick question here. And look, I'd say the biggest points, well, one, there's a big difference. Coaching basketball is not a democracy. But I will say the key things that you get from those two individuals is that they inspire people to be better than themselves and to believe that the unit is stronger than the individual, and that people get benefit and they get a lot out of giving everything they have. And then I think both of them would never ask someone on their team to do anything that they haven't done before. They are typically the hardest workers within the organization, and that quality trickles down to everyone else.
That's awesome. What an amazing experience you had working with them. Thank you for giving us a minute, Reg.
Thanks, Mike.
Steven Nelson of MLB Network, your super quick question is, tell me why this baseball season is going to be so awesome.
Ooh, a lot of great storylines to follow, like will the Dodgers super team win it all in a World Series? Albert Pujols, will he have a fairy tale send-off in St. Louis? But for me, since we live in this time where there are so many people anxious to tell you why baseball is dying, I want to tell you why it is in fact thriving, because you have waves, multiple waves of young stars under the age of 25 who are going to carry this game and this league into the next generation for young fans who are unapologetically themselves with individuality and energy, from Fernando Tatis Jr. and Juan Soto and Vlad Guerrero Jr., all 23. Luis Robert, Ronald Acuna Jr., and Bo Bichette, all 24. Or how about the studs who just made their debut? Bobby Witt, 21, Julio Rodriguez, the age of 20. We are going to be witnessing greatness for years to come. Baseball's in good hands.
Thank you, sir. It's a lovely day for a ball game. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Howard Beck, thank you so much for joining us on Super Quick Question. The NBA Finals start tonight between the Celtics and Warriors. Why should everyone be watching the NBA Finals?
This is actually a great classic matchup, Mike, of a very experienced team, a dynasty, in fact, in the Warriors, making their 6th finals appearance in 8 years, something no one had done since Jordan's Bulls in the 90s, against a Celtics team that is young, has not been on this stage before, but is super talented. Jason Tatum was on a lot of MVP ballots this year, so you got a classic matchup of the proven dynasty versus the young upstart. A lot of talent on the floor and a lot of players who are very fun to watch.
Well, you had me at Jason Tatum. You know my Duke allegiance. I'm not going to press you for a pick, but is there any sort of under the radar storyline that's kind of we should be watching out for? Anything outside of Curry and Tatum?
Well, obviously, Marcus Smart, the Defensive Player of the Year, is going to spend a lot of time on Steph Curry, and it's up to the Warriors to figure out how to beat that matchup.
Excited to watch it. Thank you so much for your minute, Howard.
And Kaylee, our question today is about communicating effectively under pressure. And I don't just mean having a ticking clock at the bottom of the screen. So your stories go out to millions of people. How do you keep your cool and calm your nerves when it's total chaos around you?
Yeah, well, Mike, whether I'm in the middle of a football stadium surrounded by 100,000 screaming lunatics or in the middle of a natural disaster, I take a deep breath, look into the camera, and think as if I'm just telling a story to my grandmother, right? So the key in delivering any story effectively is confidence. And for me, that confidence comes for preparation. So I'm not a comedian. I don't save the best bit for the end, the punchline. I lead with my best stuff, make a declarative statement off the top. Then I want to tell people a justification, a reason why they should care about what I'm saying, and then give an example or a clarification to help them better understand, right? So make yourself comfortable in the craziest of situations. Take that deep breath and tell the story just like you would your loving, caring, kind, and incredibly curious grandmother.
I love it. Grandma would love it too. That's awesome. Thanks for the tip, Kaylee.
Thanks, Mike.
Michael Felder from Stadium, NFL draft expert. What is your 60-second NFL draft preview?
Oh, I'm going to be tight. So Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett. Who's the first quarterback off the board? We got to look at that. That's going to be interesting. Does that 5 spot above the Panthers become an actionable point for the Giants to get out and somebody else to get in? That's going to be interesting. Edge rushers, Hutchinson, and then obviously we got Trayvon Walker, Kayvon Thibodeau. How do those guys all fit into this? Are you looking for a high ceiling or are you looking for a high floor? That's going to be a real interesting part. I love the safeties in this class. They are so talented, so good, but you're probably going to be able to get those guys in the second, third round, which is going to be interesting. Wide receiver, the deepest class in this draft. Wide receiver, because of the way that offenses are so prolific in college football and we see it trickle up to the NFL, wide receiver is going to be really interesting. Does Drake London, Jamison Williams, 2 guys coming off injuries, do they come off the board early? How's that work? So I think those are the things you've got to pay attention to going into the draft.
Awesome. Always love hearing your expertise on the draft and everything else. Thanks so much for your minute, Felder.